Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about business. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, in a lot of the videos you strongly suggest that it's beneficial to get involved in the business side of the company. What are the steps to get started with that, especially in this era of remote work? Well, that is an excellent question, and it's going to differ a little bit from company to company, like the specific details of how to do that. But I can give you the gist of what you should be doing in order to do this. So the reason why I say that being involved in the business side of the company is important is not because I'm trying to make you into a salesperson or a manager or anything like that. I'm trying to make you think about what is value building in the specific company that you find yourself in. And this is going to differ from company to company. In one company, delivery speed is everything. In another company, it's more important to have high quality code. In a third company, it's going to be like your team spirit, like etc. etc. What I'm trying to get you to understand is that the parameters for your success, which is this is like the biggest mental mistake a lot of developers make, especially in the junior stages. Your coding skills is definitely a big part of what's going to make you successful as a software developer, but you also have to understand that that is the thing that you are contributing and being hired to do in the company. But the thing that is going to make you progress and make you a valued team member, etc., etc., or someone who might be up for a promotion, or someone who's going to get heard a lot, and someone above all else that is trusted, is not just down to how well you code. It is how well do you align with the values of the company. And so each company usually has their own idea of what is valuable to them. Now you may have heard of this. They have so-called value words, or this is our mission, etc., etc. These things are absolutely useful, but you have to this is where the soft skills and social stuff comes in, where you have to figure out the people who are your stakeholders, what do they actually care about? Because, I mean, sure, if you're in a company where they really strongly feel about the values of the company, or like their value words or whatever they have, then what you should be doing is to try to figure out how to actually align with that as much as possible. But on the other hand, if the thing that seems to always be the most important thing to everybody is, well, uptime, or like how fast you fix things and so forth, then improvements or trying to figure out how to get involved in these sorts of initiatives is the way to go. Now, the tricky part here, and it's in many cases very similar to politics. If you work in a larger company, or if you work in a company with a lot of different stakeholders, it's really hard for you to be everybody's friend. And that is, like, I will go as far as to say that is the true thing a middle manager needs to do. Like, that's the real thing that they need to get really good at. Manage expectations between different people, and in many cases sometimes you have to make someone happy and you can make another person happy, but like your goal all the time is to be everybody's friend, or like or not necessarily their friend, to always make decisions that turn out well for as many people as possible. That is what you're going for. Now, for you to do that as a software developer, it's actually not that difficult, even if if you're working remotely or not. It comes down to how fertile are the grounds that you find yourself in. Because if you work in a company where they have a very, very tight separation, or a very strong separation between the engineers and management or POs or whatever, like where you never interact with each other, like there's no cross-team collaboration or anything like that, then this is it's harder. It's possible to do, but it is definitely harder. If you have a cross-team type of thing, it's easier, because what you're trying, the first natural step for you to take is to, drum roll, start having conversations with the people who are involved in the business side of whatever you're doing. In other words, your first thing to do is to have a look around and see, okay, your closest managers, what are they interested in? What do they value? What type of things are they trying to push, and are there ways for you to support them in these endeavors? And very concrete example is I've worked with a company where my closest manager was trying to raise morale, trying to raise developers, developer morale and engagement. And there is a lot of benefits to doing that, but it's also very hard to do that. And he will not be able to just do that without somebody helping him actually initiate these sorts of things. And that's an example of a very good situation for you to get involved, where you can say that, well, if you need some help with this, I would be very happy to, say, for example, do some lunch tech talks, or maybe I can have a look and talk to the other developers, like what would they be interested in learning more about, what type of initiatives would they like to see, what I like to ask the question, what sucks with the code base, because usually people are very good at complaining about something and if you can figure out what is bothering them, it's actually a very good starting point for you to figure out, okay, what's going to be the next action, what's going to be our solution to this thing, right? And in other cases, we've had situations where product owners or so forth have had different types of questions, like where they feel like they don't have the technical know-how to deal with some of the customers or things like that, and they don't really know how to answer certain questions. And if you are alert there and you try to engage with people when they look for help with this sort of stuff, they will naturally start to notice that you are helping them, and then that's actually going to become more and more of your responsibility. The danger there is, as I've said in another video, if you don't want to be an administrator or a manager or something like that, if you don't want that to completely be whatever you like, all that you do, be very careful, because I promise you, if you give them your pinky, they're going to take the whole arm, because you never go from like trying to help to being less of a dependency for people. The more you help, the more of a dependency you become. It's without fail, I would say. So what I want you to take away from this is that concrete steps that you can take to get more involved in the business side of your company is to take a look at, like every company is different, but you have to have a look at what are the initiatives that your managers and your stakeholders are trying to push. What are they trying to achieve within the company? It can be everything from that salespeople they want more technical experience, and in such a scenario you can offer that experience, or you can say that, well, I will gladly sit in on meetings or sit with you when you have customer discussions or something like that, if that is something what they're looking for. In some cases they need someone to provide documentation or have a talk with the developer on another team or something like that, and being engaged and saying, hey, yeah, sure, I'll do that. These are very natural things that you can do in order to move in towards having a better feel for the business side of your company. Other things that can happen, which is very common in the technical community, is that they want to raise awareness, they want to increase coverage with unit testing, or they want to educate developers in best practices or things like that. So helping and telling your manager that you can do some presentations about best practices, or help write documentation on stuff like that, or set standards for workflows and things like that. More of these more administrative tasks, that's the sort of organic thing that you can do in order to very quickly get a sense for how is your company actually being run, like what's the business side of all of this. As I was saying as well, this may not work for every company in the same way, and in some companies it might not work whatsoever, because there's no room for discussions or talks or so forth. But it's always the same process. You start by learning what your managers and your stakeholders care about, and then you start to look for different initiatives or different things that they need help with, where you can be involved. and in some cases you just go to a meeting, and in some cases you suggest and host your own meetings. That's actually all. That's all there is to it, and that is literally the easiest way for you to go from a software developer to either a manager or like whatever. You can transition very quickly after you get good at this sort of stuff if that's what you want. Have a great day.